Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Big thank you for joining us here at the 8th Ideasfest Brand and Leadership Conclave, organized by Whitepage International and iBrands 360, a WCRCINT research company. The research process has been carried out by Whitepage International, and the process evaluators of Ideasfest 2020 is the WCRCINT, the Malcolm McDonald Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, the countries were shut. Cities were silenced. Humanity and brands across the globe were facing an unparalleled crisis. A crisis that had changed billions and millions of lives. It has affected our families, communities, businesses, and our way of life. The year 2020 didn't get on to the most prosperous start. Entire countries under lockdown, widespread travel restrictions, manufacturing closures have become a commonplace due to the coronavirus outbreak. The global economy and the sectors like tourism and supply chains are in total disarray. Even today, months after the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 as a global pandemic, most Indians are spending the majority of time at home, either working for home or working from home. No longer there's a need to purchase a new car, plan a vacation, or for that matter, even buy new clothes. It is often said that one man's loss is another man's gain. While brick-and-mortar stores are getting a big hit, online stores are likely to boom. The healthcare and the well-being brands are likely to have better growth prospects in coming years with increased investments in healthcare and sanitization. Totally, necessity is the mother of all inventions. We've seen it all, we've agreed to it all. We have seen technology getting stronger under challenging times like these. As events and conferences are experimenting with their online alternatives, we see apps like Zoom and Hangouts topping the charts. Ladies and gentlemen, we must agree that with these challenging and changing trends, we need new rules in the corporate world to fuel a new age economy post-COVID-19. Today is going to be about sharing for the experiments and methods that succeeded in changing the mood of the market. We at Whitepage International and iBrands 360 are proud to celebrate and share the achievements of some of the best brands and leaders 2020 along with marketing marvels. This initiative recognizes and honors best brands and business leaders. After months of rigorous research and evaluation by a panel of honorable jury members and other esteemed industry experts, we are here to throw some light on the brands that have made it to the list and have kept going on strong even in these tough and challenging times. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce our first guest speaker, Professor Malcolm McDonald. Professor Malcolm, the chairman of Malcolm McDonald International. He has been consultant to many major companies from the United Kingdom, Europe, USA, Far East, Southeast Asia, Australasia, and Africa. But before we do that, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our first guest speaker, Professor Malcolm McDonald. Professor Malcolm, the chairman of Malcolm McDonald International. He has been consultant to many major companies from the United Kingdom, Europe, USA, Far East, Southeast Asia, Australasia, and Africa in the areas of strategic marketing and marketing planning, market segmentation, key account management, international marketing, and marketing accountability. Professor McDonald is also the chairman of 6 companies and works with the operating boards of some multinational operations. I would invite Professor Malcolm McDonald.
Thank you everyone for allowing me to address your conference as a keynote speaker. Thank you for that. Now, I will confess right at the beginning that I'm not going to pretend to be the Greek oracle at Delphi, because no one knows what's going to happen, probably not during the next month and certainly not during the next year. I saw on television here in the UK recently a meeting of chief executive officers of the airline industry. I think there are about 10 of them, and I can tell you that there were 10 totally different views about the future of the airline industry. So as I say, I'm not going to pretend to be the oracle at Delphi. What I will do, however, is make this keynote interesting, challenging, and I do hope, ladies and gentlemen, more than anything else, enjoyable. So let me start by giving you some backcloth to marketing in this COVID-19 driven recession. I mean, the first thing I want to say is that the rules of competition have certainly changed, and you'll see a number of bullet points on this graphic. The first one says anorexia industrialosa, which of course is the classic response of directors at times like this. It's understandable and it's necessary, but not in the way it's done. I call anorexia industrialosa an excessive desire to be leaner and fitter, leading to emaciation and eventually death. And I ask, how many cents are there in a dollar? And so on and so forth. That's clearly finite. Whereas what we do, the people who are attending this conference, what we do is infinite, because we do business strategy and marketing, and that is only limited. We create value for customers, and that's only limited by our creativity and imagination. So more about anorexia industrialosa later on. And I will say this, that cost cutting is not a strategy. Let's get that one out of the way. The next point is the take, make, sell, waste model is finished, purely and simply because it's no longer sustainable because of the lack of natural resources in the world. The next one, we're surrounded today by entrepreneurial, technology-enabled competitors, particularly in places like India, which excels at entrepreneurship. And of course, these organizations are unfettered by the baggage of legacy bureaucracy. And the next one, we're surrounded by information-enabled customers who, unlike when I was a marketing and sales director of a fast-moving consumer goods company many years ago, our customers today know more about us than we know about them. The bottom line on it, ladies and gentlemen, and the conclusion is that those who most effectively act in the customer's interests will be the ones who thrive and survive. So let me get started with some advice. You will see from this graphic that over 40 years of research, and incidentally that research, I've got 127 scholarly references to back it up, into the link between long-run financial success and excellent marketing strategies reveal the following. And the excellent strategies are the bullet points on the left. Let me quickly deal with the points on the right, and I'll get those out of the way with one word: product. Product, product, product. Everyone talks about products, but the reality is, and research shows today, that all products in the world are excellent, so it is highly unlikely that any organization will get any differential advantage by having a good product, because all products are excellent. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to get differential advantage by understanding these points on the left. And just very briefly, the first one is understanding markets in depth. Second one is targeting proper needs-based segments, not that nonsense about socioeconomics and demographics and the like, but proper needs-based segments. Making a specific offer to each segment, and this is the bottom line on it all, apart from, of course, anticipating the future as opposed to just reacting to it. The penultimate bullet point here is have clear differentiation, positioning, and branding. And I'll say more about branding in a few moments' time. This next point is a blinding glimpse of the obvious. In times like this, times of recession, we have to be ruthless. And you'll recognize this as the Lorenz curve, Pareto's law, the 80-20 rule. And we know that, generally speaking, the rule applies that about 20% of the input that you put in will result in 80% of the desired results. But I mean, I give you a quick example. When I was running a business school some years ago, I was getting very stressed because of the workload, and I decided to listen to my own teaching. So I made a note of everything I'd been doing, decisions I was taking over a 3-month period. Then one weekend, I analyzed them under certain headings, and guess what I discovered? Yes, of course, the 20% of the decisions I'd been making delivered about 80% of the benefits to the business school. What had I been doing? How had I been running my life? I'd been marmalading myself across the whole of the in tray, and not prioritizing the way I should do. And after that, I must say the productivity went up and the benefits to the business school went up. So it's exactly the same in business, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the point. You've got to identify at times like this your core market of primary customers. And if you can delight this group with selected differential offers, you'll have a resilient customer base. But trying to delight everyone with all of your offers guarantees average service that would delight no one. You could, if you wanted, have a company motto that says the good thing about being mediocre is you're always at your best, and nobody wants to be like that. So the point is, I'll just say it again, trying to delight everyone with all of your offers guarantees average. I'll get to my penultimate slide, and these are, I mean, there are obviously more than 6, but I've just put 6 of the ones that strike me as being very important at times like this. The first one is, and I've just mentioned this, focus on the markets and customers you want to keep in the long term. And this is most important. Understand the value required by customers, these customers, and quantify it financially. It's a remarkable statistic, ladies and gentlemen, that certainly in the UK, the research that I've done shows that about 3% of companies have financially quantified value propositions. And it makes me wonder what on earth marketers think their role is. And it's not surprising that so many customers buy on price because they can buy similar things everywhere. The third one, remember that profit is the result of doing something customers value. And of course, it's a poor company indeed that makes only profit. The fourth bullet point, value is what customers need, not what you're trying to sell them. And now, I said I'd come back to it. Yes, of course, reduce costs in unproductive areas of the business, most important, but do it with intelligence and with humanity. And the last point, another blinding glimpse of the obvious, don't do the wrong things well, do the right things well. And to summarize all of this, keep the heart of products, key customers, and I'll say a few things about this in a moment. Above all, protect your brand. And this is my last slide, which I hope you will find motivating, ladies and gentlemen. All 6 of these guidelines are represented by your brand and will lead to relationships that are great for customers, great for the people who make them happen, great for all stakeholders, and great for the planet. What in business could be more satisfying than achieving this? And so I go away smiling. Great brands will always shine bright and give us hope in the dark cloud of COVID-19. So let us all look forward with optimism and enthusiasm to the post-COVID era. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep working hard and keep smiling, and I wish you a happy conference. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Professor Malcolm, for enlightening our audiences with such valuable insights. Our next keynote speaker is Mr. Taha Kuber. Taha is the chairperson of the UK Asian Business Council, UK ABC. In addition, the managing director of Monkey Consulting Limited, where he specializes in multinational business growth and marketing, focusing on the following sectors: technology, media, healthcare, renewable and green energy, education and sports, and real estate. His 20 years business experience and expertise stretches across a range of regional areas, including the United Kingdom, Europe, Asia, and Africa. He deals closely with the public sector in India, advising on diverse initiatives in the technology sector. Taha has a variety of non-executive director positions in the private sector. I would request Mr. Taha Kuber to please join us on screen.
Today, I'm going to talk to you about the new age rules post COVID 19. And we are talking about the pandemic. We are talking about the corporate world. We are talking about how things have changed in the last 9 months. I have seen a lot of change happen around businesses, around the corporate world, in boardrooms. I am talking to you through an online platform today, whereas under normal circumstances, I would have been in between you and we would have had our normal physical interaction. But as humans, we are a resilient kind. We have evolved out of the most difficult situations, and I'm sure we will evolve out of the pandemic too. Under these circumstances, in the last 9 months, I have seen how businesses have evolved. We, again, as humans, are intelligent people. I have seen how the corporate world is changing, has changed. Uh, Board meetings have gone online. All decisions with the right decision makers is being taken online, whether it is through the media or whether it is through a normal board meeting, but now on an online platform like the way I'm talking to you right now. I have seen startups in this period of time, and I will give you some examples about these startups that I've seen, and they have done brilliantly well, even during the pandemic that we have seen so far. People who were doing, your normal jobs, a 9 to 5, going to office, they have come up with these brilliant ideas. Let me give an example of a company in the UK. Uh, Once the university started and kids went back to schools and colleges, there were these kids who thought, we can't get food in time, online deliveries are taking too long. What can we do? How can we provide for this large student population? And they actually started asking people for donations, and they started getting food in donation to their university halls. And what they did, the brilliant idea they came up with was they started packing this food which was being donated to them, and they started selling it online and deliver it to other students throughout the UK at a very minimal cost, because students, don't have too much money to spend on other things. And under these circumstances where they cannot even get a part-time job, it became even more difficult. So hats off to these guys who really came up with an idea like that. So for me, this is a small part of the corporate world which is being changed. I don't think the corporate world would have gone this way in the past. Another example that I would like to give you is a school out of a place in Gorakhpur in Uttar Pradesh in India, a 43-year-old school with that actual old school thinking, has come up with this brilliant idea where they have started an online school. And in this online school, believe it or not, the fees is only about 6,000 rupees approximately for the whole year. Some people who are watching this would probably spend 5 times that amount over a dinner. So imagine now this school is going to bring education to what we call the last mile. The last mile connectivity will actually have this school where a student who could not afford to go to a private school or even a government school, let's say there were no roads, there were no transportation, there was nothing, today can learn. And how you bring change in any kind of setup is by educating people. For me, my motto in life is educate, educate, and educate. Because if your population is educated, the difference they can bring to the whole phenomena, whether it is business, politics, or any kind of thing we have going on can change, can entirely change. Another startup that I would like to talk about today is a search engine, which is specifically again designed for kids, students. Because today, if your 8-year-old goes on Google and by mistake searches for something they should not see, Google doesn't have an idea not to throw up that search on them and related items. Whereas this company has come up with a search engine which is aimed at primary schools, and it's backed by artificial intelligence. And you will think why I'm bringing all these topics. I will explain it after I've explained the startups to you. So the platform learns how a student is searching for whatever education material they're searching for. And based on their searches, they throw up related material which is good for the student, not what they don't want to see or what the parents will not want the children to see. In a pandemic like this, when the parents are involved, they're on their tabs, they're on their computers, they might not have the time to look at their children. And this is where you need a startup like that. Is doing brilliantly well. Another one that I'll talk to you about, which is a very traditional business, garment business. And this gentleman, when the pandemic started, had a, let's say, a panic attack. And he thought, what is it that I can do? How the corporate world will help me now? Because I'm gone. My garment business is gone. Shops are shut. We are under lockdown. And then he gave me a call and he said, Taha, what I have decided, I'm going to go online. I'm going to create a platform. And today his brand, which is Genie London, is all over. He cannot believe what a change he's brought into his business by going online. So we are emphasizing a lot of things online. Again, like I said, healthcare, for example, has improved because we are eating healthy at home. We are walking more, we are exercising more because we have the time. And you will think, how do we have this time? Because I'm not spending 3 hours commuting. I'm not in a car. I'm not in a tube. I'm not in a train. So these 3 hours that I have, I'm exercising. Although, you can see I've put on a few pounds. I'm sorry to say that, but maybe the camera also brings it out. Pollution has improved all over the world. I mean, in Delhi, blue sky was seen after probably 30 years. So a lot of changes have happened because of the pandemic. The property scenario has changed worldwide. Some properties have become affordable, some properties are not affordable, commercial rents have come down, residential rents have come down. So there is a lot of things which are helping people, maybe in business or maybe out of business, but the world is changing probably for the good, I believe. The government policies are changing. I'm going to talk about a UK government policy, which was eat out, help out. When the first lockdown was over, they gave the hospitality industry a sigh of relief by bringing in this policy wherein when people were going out to eat between Monday to Wednesday, half of their bill was paid by the government, which again is unheard of. A government wouldn't have done that before to help anybody. And this is the kind of change we are seeing in the corporate world. I'll come to media. The way we are consuming media is very different now. Your online media platforms have seen a growth of about 500%. Disney Plus, Discovery Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime. And talking about Amazon, today Amazon's share is trading at the highest in the world. Who could have thought about these online platforms being the way the world would be interacting? Maybe with the news, maybe with the general entertainment, or maybe whatever we are watching. There are no cinemas around today. You can't go to a cinema. So your entertainment is through these online platforms. Talking about all of this, you have to see in the background, the corporate world has changed. The way the business is being done is changed. Why? Because today our interaction is through an online medium. Today our interactions are become more focused, because maybe you're in an office, you're physically there, you meet, you have a coffee, you have a tea, time is spent differently. But today, you're just spending time on the task given to you. And this is where I think we are bringing out the optimum from an employee. We are bringing out the optimum from a manager. We are bringing out an optimum from everybody who's a part of the business. So the corporate world will see more changes. We have seen the hospitality industry has taken a big hit. We have seen the airline industry has taken a big hit. So, in my opinion, there will be substitutes and there will be more innovations. Artificial intelligence, which we spoke about, blockchain that we spoke about earlier, is going to become pivotal. Businesses will pivot. They will pivot towards artificial intelligence. They will pivot towards blockchain. Talking about blockchain, uh, United Kingdom has made it mandatory that once a product enters the borders of United Kingdom, we want to know where exactly was that product sourced from. We are talking about in the form of I'm wearing a suit. If my coat came from Vietnam, we want to know where did the cotton or the wool came from. And that's where the blockchain ledger will come into play. We will use more artificial intelligence in knowing human behavior. We will use more artificial intelligence, not just for human behavior, but even for virology purposes. For a pandemic like this, how can we resolve issues, and how can we make the workforce, which is in our corporate world, come up to speed to this? Because people have to learn to work with artificial intelligence. People have to learn to work with blockchain. And these are the kind of changes which I see coming very soon into the market.
Thank you, Taha. Our next speaker is Mr. Rohit Ohari. Rohit Ohari is the Group Chairman and CEO of FCB India, one of IPG's lead agencies in India. He has been the driving force behind the agency's cultural and creative transformation in the recent years. Under his leadership, the agency has shot to prominence for its stellar work. It has become one of the most awarded Indian agencies in many prestigious national and international forums. No wonder Rohit is recognized as one of the top 10 most influentials in Indian advertising industry. I would request Mr. Rohit to join us on screen.
Hi. Strategies for a post-COVID world. I'm supposed to talk to you about that. Quite honestly, I don't know where to start, because this is a black swan event, and there isn't a playbook that one could kind of refer to and say, here are the top 5 or 6 things that one needs to do, in the face of this crisis. So the way we're looking at 2021 at FCB India is really to simplify the complexity, because when the situation is so unpredictable and so complex and so uncertain, I think a simple but clear strategy is perhaps the most important. And they say, in times of crisis, go back to what the agency has been created for. And our whole vision and mission has really been to put creative excellence at the center of everything that we do. And that's something that we want to kind of go back to and say that, that is going to be the heart of everything that we do going forward, really. Because while there is a lot of uncertainty, a lot of complexity all around us, I think it is very important in this kind of a situation not to get distracted from the very raison d'etre of a creative agency is the product that it manufactures, the advertising, the communication, the connections that it creates with consumers. So very clearly, top of our list is really to focus on creativity and to keep creative excellence at the center of everything we do. In times of crisis, actually, creativity is really what gives brands the edge in the market. And I think creativity is even more valuable at this point in time. The other thing that we are really, looking at very, very closely is really this whole reinvention piece. And what we're saying is that it's very important in this construct for the agency to reinvent its business model, to reinvent the way it does business, to reinvent the way it thinks about communication for brands. So everything needs to be thought about again, because we're seeing a lot of challenges across the ecosystem, in the brand world, because retail is really something that is challenged. So what is it that we can reinvent in retail? Very, very important. What is it that we can reinvent in brand experiences? Because brand experiences that were physically created, were created offline, today need to be recreated online. And that becomes a critical new skill. So this whole thing about reinventing and learning these new skills that are very important in this phase are critical. So reinventing the business model, reinventing the talent base and the way we work, because I think it's very hard for us to, as a creative agency, bring all these talents within the agency's, remit. So it's an interesting way to look at, open sourcing, collaborating with the best in the market, and working the way, new age companies need to work, really about keeping collaboration and, the end goal, which is brand success, at the center of everything, and then working behind that. So that's the second piece, which is around reinvention. And the third piece is really about, keeping a sharp focus on people and culture, because I think in this whole situation that has emerged, where work from home is really the primary place that we're working, a lot of the interaction between people has actually been challenged, and for creative agencies especially, this has been the lifeblood of the creation process, and I think that's something that we've seen a big challenge in, and it's important for the creative agencies to really look at how they recreate those experiences of brainstorming, problem solving, working together, collaborating, and building ideas to greatness is really something that agencies need to remodel and rework their internal systems, and come up with ways of building and filling those gaps. And culture, that's the other big piece. Regardless of creative agencies, is something that every organization needs to make sure that they're continuously building the organizational culture, even though there isn't a direct interaction with other members of the organization, because culture finally is not in the walls of an office or a company or a building. It really lives in the people and the leadership, and it's about behavior of the organization. So that needs to be replicated as well, and I think strategies around that are really, really critical. And finally, if you look at it, what has really, really impacted relationships at this point of time, where we're looking at isolation and we're looking at social distancing, is really humanity. And I think brands need to channel the human face, that they have even more than ever before. So humanizing the experience of the brand world, humanizing the face of the brand, right? So that becomes a big opportunity really for brands. And I think these are the core strategies that we are looking at for 2021 in how we talk to consumers, how we build the organization internally, how we build our brands.
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to unveil the research publication and coffee table book on Best of Brands and Leaders 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our next speaker, Ms. Harsha Solanki, to deliver a keynote to our audience today. Harsha Solanki is the Managing Director of InfoBip. She supervises InfoBip India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Nepal. Her work at InfoBip is noteworthy, having quadrupled the turnover of the enterprise in the last 4 years. I would request Ms. Harsha Solanki to join us on screen.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello and welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to be a part of this forum and express my views on why connected customer experience is imperative in today's world. Customers, as we know, are all unique in one or the other way, but only a few brands understand this. Over the next 10 minutes, I'll take you through a few slides and talk about how you can actually place each customer where they have to be, in the center of the purchase experience. Whether you're in tech, retail, travel and hospitality, banking, government, or any other industry, the challenge of having the right understanding of the customer always persists. But it's the ability to put the customer at the center of your digital strategy, orchestrate a full customer journey for them, and deliver the world-class end-to-end experiences they expect. That separates the leaders from the laggards in any industry. So what does this strip hint at? I think the message is pretty clear. No matter how many different channels you introduce, unless you've created a seamless integration and transition between these channels, your experience will never get distinguished. Meeting and engaging with omni-channel consumers at the right moment requires investing in an increasingly diverse channel mix. And of course, we all know this is easier said than done. But the most important thing, if you can't be everywhere, then of the least, be in the right place. The fundamental truth and challenge faced by every business today is people buy experiences, not products, period. Products used to be the basis of differentiation, but not anymore. Businesses must now deliver great experiences to win in an increasingly competitive world, competing for the hearts and minds of their customers, and exceeding their ever-increasing expectations at every point in the journey. As David J. Greer, a famous motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and writer, rightly said, a customer talking about their experience with you is worth 10 times that which you write or say about yourself. We know this holds to be true in our day-to-day experience as consumers, with shopping, banking, or just enjoying a cup of coffee. So what is it that we're talking about? Is it customer experience? Though customer experience is not a new concept, but it has never been more relevant. So the crux is, the difference between adequate and awesome experiences is simply a matter of connection. Great experiences are born from internal connectivity that brings data together so it can become something even more important. In today's world, if one can order a car in a couple of minutes, why can't he order the window blinds or a fish tank or software for that matter? That's the power of data, customer enablement, and advantage of making them stay connected. Your customers have set the bar very high for seamless, personalized, and instant experiences, because that's what they have seen all around them. Take it with a pinch of salt. They don't care if that's not the way it's typically done in your industry. If they see it once, they want it every time. So we as industry players need to read their minds, sense their need, and react to it accordingly. Be it picking up the most preferred channel of communication and reach out to them, or bring in personalization in every step to make them loyal towards the brand. Building a great experience sounds like a simple idea, but delivering it is much tougher. Customers like brands to value them, respect them, and delight them, like the individuals they are. But as agility, digitization, the rise of digital devices accelerate, impressing customers has never been so hard. So, what does today's connected customer look like? So looking at the pie breakup, eMarketer's research shows around 43% of the millennial internet user research online but always end up buying in store, which means they have all the means and time to do so. Whereas 20% of them research and shop online. While this data is from November 2019, which is pre-COVID era, I'm sure the numbers as on today would look more promising towards their being digital. So during a global pandemic, as a digital-first customer behaviors are accelerating, delivering the basics combined with empathetic, connected, and innovative cross and omni-channel experiences are now matters of necessity. Every organization needs to break through the clutter and speak to the customer in a unique voice to leave a lasting impression as the target segment and customers are more and more informed, aware, and have access to almost any data. It means transforming how you function as an enterprise, always on, knowing the past, and forestalling the future across every device, channel, and moment. But if asked what are the typical characteristics of a connected customer, then here it is how it looks like. Well-informed and practical, leverages mobile, social media, and other digital channels to better understand a brand's promise, product, features, and pricing, etc. Values personalization, appreciates brands that customize products and services for their personal benefit and adapts various aspects of Internet of Things to create a lifestyle they desire. Brand influencers, shares personal experiences and feedback on the interaction with brands and their products, which influences their view of social circles. Expects immediate results, considers time a precious commodity, and values an efficient customer experience across multiple channels in real time. Last but not the least, wants authenticity, prefers fewer barriers between company and customer, expects a consistent experience across all channels of a brand they interact with. So today's customers are driven by new demands and expectations for immediacy, connectivity, and frictionless experience in every channel. Achieving this requires a complete rethink of how you operate and a radically different cadence of running your business. It involves putting the customer at the center, designing to optimize every stage of the customer journey, right from discovery to try, buy, use, all the way through renewals, driven at every level and function across all regions. So some more facts to prove how millennials are way ahead in proving their loyalty or association to the digital world and are at the forefront of being natives. Digital natives, or millennials, as we call them, have natural instincts about how to optimally make use of their smartphones, be it for research or for making a purchase. They are much better at multitasking than digital immigrants. Millennials are generally twice likely to be digital natives. However, even baby boomers are connecting online and offline journeys. Millennials have high expectations about user interfaces and are confident in their skills. So for organizations to create loyalty with millennials, brands need to first cover the basics. That means top-notch service, top-notch customer service, and quick individualized responses to the channels they use and they are active on. For example, social media or chat apps, etc. So why should you care? Well, there are 6 compelling data-backed reasons on why you should start caring about connected customer experiences. So 84% of customers say the experience a company provides is as important as its products and services. Whereas 73% of customers say one extraordinary experience raises the expectation of other companies. And 66% of customers are willing to pay more for a great experience. Companies that align marketing efforts to the customer journey have 50% greater ROI than those that don't. And offering a better customer experience drives better and more positive word of mouth, leading to 2.5 times more revenue from referrals. And companies that proactively managed customer journeys enjoy over 13 times more cross and upsell revenue. The connected customer data is the key to architecting connected customer experience. Each step of the customer journey must be choreographed to be consistent, contextualized, and captivating. On the contrary, despite being technologically equipped, most enterprises today can't keep up with the customer's high expectations for personalization. And the challenges extend beyond technology. Business can be paralyzed by organizational silos and a lack of process, unable to execute on a customer engagement strategy. So, where to start from? So, meeting consumer expectations and rising above the competition require brands to create experiences that stand out. Brought on by sustained changes in digitally enabled consumer preferences, today, experiences matter more than ever, with the key challenge of taking various channels, products, and services and truly personalizing the offering to a one-to-one level. That requires transforming various sources of data into a clear view of each and every customer and making transactions between channels so seamless that the customer can't see the transitions or know the difference. So in this pandemic era, the maturity from classical marketing to connected customer experience is indeed the right path. Marketers are increasing the adoption and enhancing important digital touchpoints while ensuring they complement each other collectively. To thrive during the turbulent times, where customers expect brands to be relevant, genuine, and empathetic, the experience creators will have to start from scratch. So first and foremost, brands need to be empathetic. From your customers and employees to how your systems work together. They need to develop a customer-centric enterprise based on humans helping humans. Think of technology as the enabler. Next, regardless of how they connect with brands, at the end of the day, customers just want to feel like they matter to your brand. The future of customer experience lies in the ability to balance the art of empathy and science of technology, which translates into aha moments and actionable insights. Milliseconds make the journey. True compelling experience only happens if you master the art of designing for speed and scale, unified data, content, and workflows. Customers have expectations for a seamless, if not effortless, integrated brand experience in any and all channels. If they're not there to meet the expectation, they will simply move on to another brand who will. This is the time when the world is exposed to various threats and challenges where no one is operating from a best-in-class pandemic playbook. Brands and marketers must become the very people they're trying to reach, which means by anticipating their emotions, using predictive analysis, and prescribing next best actions to satisfy customer needs in a personalized way, which is fast, easy, and give them a unique experience, which is unforgettable, satisfactory, recommendable, memorable, epic, positive, differentiating, etc. In a nutshell, it has to be a 5-star experience. They have the options and purchasing decision. You decide if you're in or you're out. And finally, a brief about Infobip. Infobip powers enterprises to deliver messages across any channel, any device, at any time, and anywhere worldwide. Infobip's technology creates a seamless mobile interactions between businesses and people, as well as simplifying the integration of almost all communication capabilities. In addition to its enterprise portfolio, Infobip also provides mobile operators worldwide with solutions designed to generate revenue from A2P messaging, optimize network functions, and introduce new technologies and new revenue streams. Some facts about us. So we are the global cloud communications platform company, leader in CPaaS solutions, largest global MNO network, #1 global communication channels vendor with a 9,500 enterprise and business customers, 2/3 of the world's mobiles reached in 2019, and GSMA trusted partner in identity. And before I close, let's have a quick look at this video that summarizes our identity.
It takes a lot of time, energy, and resources to get customers to buy. After you've invested all that effort, it's important that you also retain them. There are lots of different ways to stay in touch and keep your customers engaged, such as shipping confirmation notices, delivery information, and customer satisfaction survey. Smart technology makes it easy to have smart two-way conversations to resolve issues and address customer concerns promptly and efficiently while maximizing in-house time and resources. With InfoBip, you can set it and forget it with the ability to interject as and when it is required, delighting your customers and transforming them into loyal fans of your brand. Find out more about how InfoBip can help at every stage of the customer journey at infobip.com.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for addressing the audiences. It was surely an enlightening experience. It's time for a first panel discussion, in fact the much awaited panel discussion of the day, where our speakers and industry experts will enlighten the audiences today with the future of technology and its role in driving customer. Without further ado, let's dive into the panel discussion. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sharma. It's an absolute pleasure to be amongst the distinguished dignitaries. My heartfelt thanks to Whitepage International for providing this virtual platform and giving me the opportunity to moderate this panel on the most researched and talked about topic, the role of technology in shaping the future of customer experience and how to create a great experience during and after the crisis. I'm honored to be in the driver's seat for this panel of top industry minds who represent some of the best talks, consulting, and mentoring assignments. Each one has multiple accolades for their pioneering journey, or maybe for the people or organizations they have worked with. In the new world of customer experience, which is personalized, contextualized, and dynamic, the chief customer officers are partnering with the technology organization to bring control of the human experience back in-house with a fresh arsenal of experience-focused marketing tools. Kicking off a multi-year omni-channel strategy is not the first and the foremost priority now. Most companies are acutely looking for some customized, easy to implement, quick fixes, tactics to help fill the gap left by strongly reduced in-person engagements. Imagine a world in which a brand knows who you are, what you want, and can deliver the product, service, or experience that best suits your needs seamlessly in a real time across physical or digital channels. Thanks to the technology, this world has arrived. While the titles of the customer experience have already been introduced, I think we are all set to start the discussion. My first question is to you, Pramod. So customer engagement has been affected a lot during the crisis. What kind of friction do you see customers facing during the pandemic that's likely to continue when it's over? And what should the businesses do to avoid that friction?
Hi, Harsha, good morning, and good morning to all the panel members over here. Pleasure to be here, part of this esteemed panel over here. Thanks a lot. Questions, you have a large question over here, talking about customer engagement, talking about the friction. I would say that from the experience which we have seen, customer engagement earlier for all of us, for all industries today, whether IT or any other industry, was always the physical mode of communication. That you meet people, you meet them, you greet them, you have a cup of coffee, you sit down, and then you start discussing about your business and your sales or your marketing or anything else. So I think customer engagement across verticals, across industries have taken a complete transformation over here, a complete 360 degrees transformation. Each vertical and each departments have to understand, adopt, adapt to the new way of, first of all, either seeing somebody online or not able to see somebody online at all and having conversations. So I think across all the functions in any vertical, sales function is the most critical function where you are still required to meet somebody, meet a customer, explain them, give a presentation, look at the body language of the customer, show your body language also over there, and understand the, the atmosphere, what is going on with the customer premises. And that engagement, I think, across other customer service, administration, finance, across is fine. But sales, something is a very important function which couldn't get replaced immediately. It was difficult, but other departments is fine. But this is something was to be adapted over here. I think that is something engagement, I would say, across verticals, across industries today. Example, somebody in IT industry today. We are used to go to a customer office, take a whiteboard and start presentation. We are expecting impromptu questions by people, to ask us, so these things are not there. So now I would say the customer engagement did affect, but then I think after March, April, when people realized this is the only way and this is going to continue, I think then the online medium came in the picture. Earlier it was conference calls, but then the video calls came in the picture. After video calls, video conferencing happened in the picture. I believe everybody adapted. Everybody had to adapt it overnight with every tool they have. With iSwap, our customers today, luckily, we are in the business of collaboration and communication. So what iSwap did, we anyway enabled our customers so they could speak to, they could see us, we could see them. So our customer service team was available online. They can see us and they can talk to us. Our prospect customers, where we were pitching in March, we were to closure. We requested them to come online. They used an iSwap tool. So for us, that customer engagement gave a complete different dimension for sales. So customers saw that we have a tool. Oh, we can use this for our purpose also. So that helps us, our sales team, to break the ice, communicate, connect over there and do that. When it comes to friction, of course, the friction, as I mentioned earlier also, the friction is there because everybody, all the panel members will agree over here that today sales is a function where you meet people. So today, without meeting somebody, you would like to talk to somebody and have a deal done, a sales done. It is not difficult, but yes, it is a challenge because sometimes people are not available. And most important is the network issue. Some people can say, I can't hear you, I didn't understand. And when you're selling more, you're in a passion. You're just talking about, and suddenly some break comes, the camera is off. So typically, you can't demand customers to keep the camera on, right? So you're talking to a black screen, and you're assuming that the guy is understanding, and he's understanding. So these frictions, I would say, are this type of frictions. I would say are a lot when it comes to the engagement part of it. And most important, surprisingly, everybody's busy. So today, everybody is short of time. Earlier, they had time, but now everybody's busy. So the first thing they say, okay, how much time will it take? Half an hour. Okay, done. I have a next call waiting for me. So in a limited time, you got to do a lot of things over here. So this friction is complicated. It is good, bad, everything. So this is there, and I would say, I don't think it can be avoided because that is the way it is. Until we do not have the vaccine, even if we have the vaccine, till people do not feel comfortable, confident, they will never meet. They wouldn't like to meet. They would like to avoid it, and that is it today. Also, the event we have right now is online. Unlike the event which is physically there right now. So this is going to continue, I would say, and we have to live with it, adapt it, and find and evolve ourselves completely to be successful in this entire journey. That's what my feedback is.
Harsha, you're mute.
Mike.
This is very classic. It happens with me all the time. So, very well said, Pramod. I think time has, become all the more very critical as a component, right, in today's time during the crisis. And we've seen the kind of meetings that we used to have with our customers. We used to have a cup of coffee, even connect for that matter, understand the emotions, body language. All that is gravely missing now. Now the meetings are to the point, very, restricted to the topic, and you just want to kind of finish that meeting in 30 minutes and move on to the next one quickly, right? That's how it is, and it's for everyone, I can say that, right? So, I would like to, move on to Sakshi. And Sakshi, would you like to add something here? Sakshi, you're on mute. I'm sorry, I still don't hear you. No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'll just take this out. So as Pramod rightly mentioned here, that basically the boundaries are diminishing. So I come from a real estate industry, and here we are. Look, we are meeting people, but not very often, because either they have an online meeting there, or in their own work. So it becomes very difficult as a person who's running the business in my organization to even get an appointment from, say, some CEO or of a developer or somebody like that. So yes, it has become really difficult to catch people nowadays, which I would like to put it. But having said that, I mean, the industry itself is working towards managing multiple stakeholders, because it is not just one product. We are a conglomerate of lot of multiple products here, and it becomes, but we are trying to hold hands with each other and move on and see and understand and focus our energies in the end user wellness, because that is where the final output will be, and then that's where our sales will start turning, and we will start generating more revenues. So we in particular do not do the end user interaction is not there, because we are consultants to, say, developers or corporates who are then going to be involved with the end users, but we understand their pain point, and we are kind of working with them to understand what are their requirements and what has changed pre-COVID and post-COVID. So I would just wanted to add this point to already what Pramod had said.
Thank you, Sakshi. So, underlining the importance of customer experience in these difficult times. Further, my question is for you, Divya. You come from a company that engages a family as a whole in terms of buying decisions for the future of kids. So what is the framework you have to map customer journey and then find ways where to tweak? And how well the technology plays a role there in mapping this journey?
Thanks, Harsha, for the question. And I think I'm in an industry, education, for which I think it's been a watershed moment as far as the pandemic is concerned. I think India frog leaped fundamentally 10, 20 years into the whole edtech space to match globally what was happening. You know, we've been very stuck with the fact that learning can only happen inside brick and mortar rooms, and how overnight the educators, and a big salute to them, stood up in one voice, and despite their limiting constraints and of resources and bandwidths, classes started to happen in India, and schools opened in some form and shape, and learning classes happened. Now, to map I think there are various paths various edtech companies are taking as of today. You know, you see very, very big Indian edtech giants who are looking at huge retail kind of a business, okay, reaching out directly to the parents, taking an ATL, BTL, mapping it out, and then doing. At FlipLearn, we have a very different strategy. Our strategy is to become partners with schools, because in India, education is prescriptive fundamentally by nature. If the school says you're going to study this book, irrespective of 10 books that might be there, the child will study that one book. So our idea is we are partnering with schools and providing the LMS to them, where teachers can take online classes, homework, assessment, students keep coming on the platform and doing. And from there, provide content learning access to students also. Okay. So rather than saying, we don't know what the school is doing, just come to me after school and learn from me, I'm saying I'm a partner to the school. I'll help the school to teach you during school hours, and I'll help you extend beyond school hours for your own personalized path. And what has happened, very interestingly, I was in another conversation shortly some time back, which I said, this whole pandemic has redefined the economic budgeting of every household in this country now. You know, today every household will now start budgeting for how will my child learn? So do I need a device? Okay. What kind of bandwidth connection do I need? This was not something as a part of the larger middle class India budgeting. But now this has become an absolute category in which you will see budgeting happening for households, for institutions, schools to understand what do teachers have, what do schools have, how do they connect. And I think this has been a very, very pivotal moment of actually bringing all the stakeholders together. So this whole customer mapping journey is very this thing. The first time parents have seen teachers who are teaching their kids. Okay. The first time they're also getting privy to what is really happening. And the first time parents in India have understood how tough it is to manage their own kids for 8 months at their own home. Right. So everybody is braving when will the schools open and when will we send our kids. Right. So there's a lot of empathy in the system. There's a lot of understanding. And while we understand the emotive part of the whole experience, our idea is to make life easy for the teachers, make life interesting for the children, so that they have a platform where they can do their own thing in their own space, learn at their own pace and time, make their own mistakes, make it safe, do a lot of adrenaline rush gamified work, etc., and also allow school to carry out all its academic and social activities in terms of interaction, communication, collaboration, etc.
Thank you, Divya, for that great insight. I would like to extend the same question to you, Vikas. Since your organization has up-leveled this customer mapping journey, both nationally and internationally, so what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, just as you asked the question, as Providence would have me, somebody's tapping on the wall next to my room. Yeah, so thank you so much for the question, Harsha. I think this whole thing about customer journey is a very interesting phenomenon because it talks about the various levels of engagement at a customer, and the customer could be a student, it could be a traveler, it could be a patient, it could be a subscriber, has with the brand, right? And I think this mapping is important because that is what eventually defines the customer experience, right? If you are able to map the various things that a customer wants. And in today's world, just like Divya said, customer experience is the most defining metrics of success. So from the time you create an awareness for the brand through your social media campaigns or to a face-to-face engagement, till the time you have advocacy where somebody wows and is absolutely thrilled by working with the brand, and the various steps in between, which involves onboarding, which involves acquisition, which involves retention, which involves a whole massive level of engagement. I think it is very critical that the various elements in your business, and they could be finance, and I think Pramod spoke a little bit about that. They could be finance, it could be customer support, it could be operations, it could be sales. At various aspects, all of these things need to come together and deliver one experience, because you may have several departments, but the customer relationship is a single experience. So everybody needs to understand that and do it. And I think it is extremely important because, one, it helps you understand what the customer wants, what the customer really needs, what are his challenges, what are his pain points, so on and so forth. So it helps you to forward engineer and structure your products and services that are able to address that particular pain. It helps you to innovate. And of course, then it also helps you to create ambitions and goals and curate experiences that can keep this customer mapping and this customer experience journey going on for a very, very long time. So that's my absolute view on that one, Harsha.
Thank you, Vikas. I think you touched upon the most important elements of customer experience, which is about personalized, contextualized, and being dynamic at the same time. Since we have touched upon scaling the customer experience matrices internationally, my question to you, Sachin, there's always been a tech gap when it comes to the customer experience at the national and global level. So how can we minimize this gap? Also, we've seen that even though globally the industry is ready to adapt to advanced technologies, do you think the Indian consumers are equally?
Thanks, Harsha, for this question. I think you are right while you are saying that there is a gap between the focus, what Indian companies, have on customer experience vis-a-vis the international counterparts, and more so in terms of adoption of technology. But I think in the last couple of years, and thankfully to this pandemic, because of this, many companies have started to focus on that aspect. Like we are into software development thing, and of late in the last 10 months or so, we have started receiving specific queries from customers wherein they are laying a great emphasis on how to improve the customer journey, whether they are building an app or a software, for their consumers. So they are demanding product designers. So product designers, those who, can map the entire journey of the user right from the onboarding and till the end point wherein maybe they pay for a particular service or a product and exit the system. So they want a product designer to map that entire journey and then add on to the UX and UI elements so that the user experience, because right now people are shying away from going outside. Now in that scenario, if the application that they are working upon that gives them the real experience, I think that way they can engage more with the customers and they can retain the customers. So they are laying a lot more emphasis on improving that product design, how to engage the customer through the product itself. And of course, the service industry, you talk about hospitality or other entertainment industry, they were always pioneering in this customer engagement thing. But now other industries are also adopting the technology, and with the introduction of things like RPA, the robotic process automation, the chatbots, so things have started to take shape in different other industries as well. And in this pandemic era, I would say the investment towards technology to improve the customer experience has gone up. Yeah, so that is what my take is.
Thank you, Sachin. I'll move to Pramod, and Pramod, I would like to know your views as well on this.
I think I do understand and agree with Sachin, his feedback about he getting inquiries from customers about this to try to emulate this scenario where they would like to also provide a seamless experience or easy experience for customers to come on board. I think from the software development point of view, they are getting these inquiries. From our perspective, from ISOP perspective, ISOP is a company into email collaboration. We provide email collaboration communication platform to all kind of customers, all size of customers, all vertical customers. We are a global company based in Prague, in Czech Republic, and we came in India 5 years back. So 5 years back when we came in India, people still saw a complete presentation. They saw entire demonstration of a product before they bought it. And we always told them, the advanced features about email, communication, collaboration, video call, chat, group collaboration in the sense the teams can work together, exchange information. So they always said, yes, it's a good idea and we will use it. But we have a research which in the last 5 years, the customers bought our services, but they never used it. It was very, very minuscule population of our customers who were using it. We tried a lot of webinars, a lot of education things to customers, do this series of education to them, how can they benefit from this. But then this pandemic brought a complete loads and loads of questions and loads of demand to us overnight, and people started calling us and asking us, hey guys, you sold us this, you sold us that, you sold us this. So how do we use this now? So we were taken back because we had to upgrade our infrastructure overnight. And the customer closed, the country was closed. So we had to manage a lot of things because we had to upskill our infrastructure to accommodate this demand. So because video calls will suck your bandwidth, it will eat up your bandwidth. So ISWAP as a company, when we saw this demand, we did a lot of enabling of our customers. So I would say from what was always being the norm in the global market was never in India. I will give you a very small example. My first visit to Prague was in 2014. And I went to my office, my headquarters, and I asked somebody for lunch. Hey guy, are you coming for lunch? He said, no, I have a meeting, so I will catch you in the evening for a beer. I said, okay, fine. And I had my lunch, and I came back for my lunch, and I saw the guy sitting over there in the desk. I said, you had a meeting, right? Yeah, I have a meeting. It's there, don't worry, And then I found out it was an online meeting. They had a go-to meeting. They use software go-to meeting. They go online. They have a meeting, and you'll be laughing. The meeting was next door. It's the customer. It's just next door. It's not even very far. It's very next door. Still, the culture in Europe is okay. Fine, do it online. And same with the US. Like, if you go to US, the culture of meeting, I think it's more of an Asian tradition. You meet, have a cup of coffee, talk to people. So I think, having said so, we could see that happening immediately, adapted by force, all customers in India, I would say. So today, I would say almost, I would not even say 99.999. I would say every customer of WiseUp today is using today all the functions, collaboration to the platform, in the collaborating platform, because as Divya mentioned, like, getting all the school, colleges to work together. So you need to collaborate, you need to work together. So you need, as you had a boardroom or a conference room, now you need one room to be there where everybody's there. You're exchanging your views, you're talking, exchanging files, same time looking at the information and trying to give feedback, So that has moved from conference boardroom to now to the laptop, desktop. That's what I would say. And technology, okay, I will give you some more dimension. Apart from email, what we all know, video call, voice call is fine. We could see a change happening in floor shop. We have customers who are into manufacturing. The largest customer in the world who manufacture tubes, this toothpaste tubes, all the whatever tubes, right? They have customers using iSwap worldwide. So they told us now they would ensure the floor shop is completely, as Sachin mentioned, robotics RPA completely. So there were never such kind of pandemic can disturb or derail their plans for production or something goes wrong over here. So so what I see is, as India, our people from all the caliber or the class used to travel to trade fairs across exhibitions worldwide to get knowledge, to acquire knowledge, to understand what is going on. But they had a hard time to come back to India and convince their management to give the budgets for that, because the company's management never felt the need of it. But today, this is the most important thing. The budgets are coming easily available, made available right now. The budgets are being increased, or I would say reorganized to the right place where it is to be. So I think slowly, India is getting there. India is coming there. We have adapted. Quickly we have adapted, and I think it is the norm. I think in the next 1 year, I believe in the next 1-2 years we would be far in terms of deployment of technology in various industries today, wherever, because all these industries are thriving. They have more of a domestic consumption right now, and they would have to ensure that their supply chain is not disrupted for any reason to cater to the demand that they have to. So I think I would say technology is coming far in India. That's what my take is.
Thank you, Pramod. I'll quickly move on to Sakshi. So Sakshi, you come from an industry where the customers are different from consumers, right? So while there's not much of a direct interaction with your consumer, what role does the technology play in your industry to upkeep their expectations, and how challenging do you think it is in such a controlled environment?
So, I would say that this technology is very different, works very differently in construction industry. It is not related to a particular automation software or something which is like one product centric. As I mentioned earlier, it's like a conglomerate of products. So every product now post pre-pandemic, there were AI that we were using in different types of processes, but all that has been accelerated and accelerated exponentially. Because now whether you want to start the construction at the site or now, because during the pandemic the construction was stalled and a lot of human resource was involved in that. So now the companies are also thinking how to use different construction technology, you do prefabrication, but it was done very less in India. So now more and more developers are adapting to prefabrication. Then more and more developers are trying to understand the end user wellness. So wherein we are an organization who design architectural designs for the build to suit formats or any civil products. Like for example, we have to build a commercial space. So initially, like pre-COVID, the requirement used to come from the client that, okay, this is the standard requirement that I want this much floor space area, this much height, this and that. But now, there was a, so in India, developers are very centric towards achieving the final, like whatever is allowed, we need to achieve the full area which is allowed by the authorities. So how to squeeze every inch out of it. So now all that requirement has completely changed post-COVID, because initially if 75 square feet of space is being used per person and the entire design is designed accordingly, now that has completely doubled to at least 150 square feet per person, which now would lead, like we become the drivers there, how to redesign the entire space or redesign the internal space within the same civil space. So that's where the challenge, helping all our clients to revamp their designs or to understand their requirements and how to bring in. So earlier there were things about green technology, how developers are using it, and but now it has become the necessity, the need of the hour. Everybody has to. It is not a luxury anymore, which was thought, okay, green building means more investment initially, but that is not true, because so now things are changing completely, and we are helping and educating also some of our clients who are not very well versed with these technologies, and that's where we come into picture. And even our German studio and studio in the Middle East, all of us are following a process. Internally we discuss the designs, and when we go to the client, it becomes like a full integrated process that we are going to follow. So this is the part where our industry comes into play. And yes, there is a big slowdown because of multiple issues like liquidity and human resource loss. So, but yeah, we are sticking together, and we are trying to kind of mitigate this problem, and hopefully the real estate industry will bounce back soon. Having said that, actually residential sector is really seeing an upsurge, because now everybody is working from home, so everybody wants a comfortable house. So within that space, within that same area which was designated earlier, how we can utilize that space in a different manner is the challenge. Yeah.
Thank you, Sakshi, for the great insight from that vertical. Looking at the time that we have, Vikas, I have a question for you. So technology has an inbuilt quotient for creating the wow factor. So how soon do you think can the world adapt and embrace the power of, embrace the power of artificial intelligence at a global level and utilize it at an optimal level, or to an optimal level?
It's a great question. And I think the power of technology, especially AI, in creating wows and customer experience is absolutely unparalleled. I mean, it's already happening. I mean, we don't really need to look really see what's happening. We always feared that, the machines will become smarter, more intelligent, more faster than us. And I think the era is really upon us. Now, predicting something for the future is an errand for the fools, they say. But now let's look at real world examples around us. Emails, right? When you sit and do emails, there are suggestions that are provided based on incoming emails. Your sentences are completed for you at a very simple, basic level. You see this ads about self-parking cars, MG Hector, autonomous cars. You see Alexa, it recognizes your voice commands and does things for you. You have seen very familiar pictures of robots going and checking temperatures and sanitizing people who are entering malls and so on and so forth. All of us have been locked inside the house, and most of us have taken the liberty to see entertainment on Netflix, YouTube, and isn't it more personalized today? Because based on the genre of your music or the movies, don't you get the suggestions about what you are supposed to do? I think it is everywhere. And the most basic example, and Divya is traveling, is Google Maps. And we've been using that for years now. Doesn't it suggest you alternate routes to reach the same place? It's so intelligent, right? And since this is a cricket-loving nation, and I'm a big follower of the game. Anil Kumble has invested in a startup called Spectacom, which actually puts a small sticker on the back of the bat, and around how did you hit the ball, the impact, the speed, the twist in the bat, which goes onto the Azure cloud, and there's analysis done, and that provides, and that's supposed to provide a huge amount of analysis and an eventual experience to the people who view the sport, right? So I think it's a great way in which technology can enhance experience. And how soon can we see that happen? I think that's a very much an ecosystem question. Different communities, different countries have different digital maturities. You know, it really depends upon the suppliers, the skill sets, the availability of resources, devices, the regulations, the connectivity, and so on and so forth. So the Western world, of course, is slightly more advanced. There are more use cases on AI, and hence, you know, they are perhaps a little ahead of the curve. The entire pandemic has accelerated that, the entire digital transformation and the use of AI in India. And with 750 million internet users, half of which have been added in the last 4 years itself, I think the era of a truly inspired AI world is upon us. And India is going to embrace that very, very soon. I can't tell you whether it's going to be 1 year or 2 years. It's not in my purview right now.
Thank you, Vikas. I'd like to extend the same question to Divya. You know, coming from a edutech, industry, what signs do you see of, AI being adopted by the Gen Z students who will eventually be in the driver's seat for this technology tomorrow? Divya, are you there? Okay. Okay, let's move forward. So, ultimately, the goal is to achieve customer delight, and technology has helped the cause by bringing transparency, trust, instant gratification, and reliability. But on the other side, it is also exposed to negative publicity, social trolling, and things like that, right? So how do you weigh this? So probably if I can have 30 seconds from each one of you and your final words here. Maybe we can start with Vikas.
Data privacy is a big topic, and the ability to have secure boundaries around everything that we do is of paramount importance. I think for every one of us, in fact, in our business, security is a very big cornerstone of what we do. And I think we need to, as we embrace more technology, we need to be cognizant of the fact that data cannot be misused. There are certain rules and there are certain do's and don'ts that we need to follow. And to my mind, I think that's something that we need to follow, and we need to be absolutely sacrosanct about it, in my opinion.
Great. Sachin.
Yeah, I think I'll echo the points that Vikas has raised. Security has become paramount in these days because much of data flowing in and out, and especially during this pandemic. So many customers who have not even considered security as one of the key elements in their products, they have been demanding, security. So VAPT testing, which was never demanded by, smaller customers. So vulnerability testing is something which even the smaller customers have started to demand in these days. So I think, yes, the time has changed, and people are laying a lot more emphasis on data security these days. And with GDPR kind of, compliances in place in Europe, as well as, you have similar compliances in US. So I think, yes, security plays an important role, and technology, has a solution to take care of all these things in these days.
Thank you, Sachin. Sakshi, we may hear something from you.
So it's we don't directly use the technology as such for any end user requirement, but yes, our customers they are actually using the technology to research on what exactly is the requirement, and that requirement more or less is more research based. So here in this industry, we would say that okay, yes, there are some sensitive data, like if you go to say 99acres.com or any other site for that matter, you go and publish your things. But then again, you have to be very, very cautious about your personal details. So yes, there are filters, and then the industry as such is going forward in doing a very transparent process, yet taking care of the customers. But it is evident that the data is required, and we cannot do without it, I would say. So, but yeah, to just get it, we need to understand the sensitivities of the end consumers also.
Thank you, Sakshi. Pramod?
I would say that most of it said by Vikas and Sachin. I would like to say that data privacy definitely is the key hot topic due to the regulations in India, which is now being again coming back to the question Harsha you asked about national, international, getting power. So data privacy is a hot topic as the government is doing a lot of things for the regulations part of it for that. And I think that is the key aspect and the fundamental right of a person to ensure that his data is not being compromised at any aspect. So as you asked about getting trolled on social media and getting abused about the things, but I think that is something that's beyond our control. If you are on the social media, then you have to accept everything, whatever it is. Applause also at the same time, critics also, as simple as that. But for the corporations, for the companies, organizations today, I think security has been the paramount importance. So companies who were MNCs, companies who were listed companies, banks who were cooperative banks. So there are a lot of regulators who are there who are enforced about the subject. Like RBI has mandated for banks to have something called DMARC. The DMARC is a tool which tells you who is misusing your domain name and your IP address worldwide to send out emails. You may get an email, example, you may get an email from Emirates. It may look the same way the Emirates don't look like, but it's not, it's impossible over there. So these things were there, but like RBI mentioned about this, so banks were not, so the PSU's bank had has gone ahead. Cooperative banks today, there are large cooperative banks in India, many of them, and they are like small banks, So it is still, you will be surprised that is this technology is like a wow. Oh, okay, we will see. So we see a class of companies who are serious, who are exploring, and they would want to have something which is cost effective. Because during pandemic also we saw a lot of companies bought because of ignorance or because of knowledge not being there. They were made to bought by companies, by service providers overnight, something which they found not useful. And now as of today, they found alternatives to that example. So I think this is an important aspect also while deciding on technology, to decide and understand and do a lot of knowledge digging on this, what is right, what is wrong. That is one aspect. Second aspect is very, very important, that data is, like as Sakshi mentioned, that she is not using technology, that is, but she is looking at some private data. But data is everywhere, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's about email, whether it's about the laptop. So I think this has now picked up in a bigger sense, because suddenly the perimeter of security is no more the office. Earlier the biometric was the first thing. You come to somewhere place, biometric is the first thing, right? You go to in office, when you sit there in office, you can't take a USB drive, example. But suddenly, imagine a BPO. We have customers who the India's biggest BPO company, WNS, is our customer. And overnight they had to ask the employees to take their desktop laptops to go home. And imagine they are having audits by their customers every 3 months about security. Now, where do they do the audits? Because the people are in the office right now. So the whole thought process has changed. Example, Divya today was having people working in the office, but suddenly she has to allow people to go home and work. So her data, so she is worried about data right now, example. So I think this is a very important topic, and there are many solutions to it. It's just the seriousness of the companies and corporations to at least get them equipped, not to the best extent, but at least basic extent, so they do not face any kind of incident where they have to lose money, their brand, or something in the market. So I think it's all about the organization which run the business, and the CIO, CTOs to go and tell them that this is what is important, that they invest the right money and they educate the users. Also, one more thing important, Harsha, I would like to say, implementing technology is good as a management. But do the users, do the employees are aware the do and don'ts? Are the regular knowledge sharing happening? As Sachin mentioned that, about the GDPR thing on the things, but are the employees aware? Are the people aware? What are the do and don'ts? So there are simple tools nowadays. Example, you can make a small, like a survey, and you send out purposely. You can stimulate. You can simulate some emails and send out to your company employees, and you see how many people have actually clicked on those mails, which they shouldn't have done that. So these things you can come to know the readiness of your of the company. So you may have bought the best of technology, but your employees are not educated and they are not being told about it, and then it's a waste of money. So I think this is the process. I would say the process has started. Adoption over years has happened, but I think it is still a time-consuming process. It's a journey by itself, I would say.
Thank you, Pramod. So to summarize, so technology is here to shape the future, amplifying customer service and creating the opportunity to communicate in new ways in a world of unprecedented connectivity. So digital transformation is forcing companies to change their business models and adapt to the new market reality. What's interesting about this is it's not the companies that are driving this change alone. Instead, this change is being driven by the customers. So today, the customers expect relevant content in relation to what they are doing anytime, anywhere in the format on the device of their choosing. It's their journey that dictates your strategy. And in order to keep up with this new kind of always connected customer, businesses must embrace technology to deliver an unmatched customer experience. So on that note, let me conclude by thanking all of you for your time and valuable insights. Thank you once again. Stay safe and stay connected.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harsha, and thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Stay safe, yeah. Bye.
Well, this was certainly a very interesting discussion. Thank you so much to all the panelists and Ms. Harsha for moderating and conducting the session so well. Inspiring others is the mark of an inspirational business leader. We have some eminent personalities with us today who are an inspiration to everyone in their respective industries. Business leaders are actually custodians of their brands, and today we are here to celebrate and honor inspirational business leaders who have led from the front to elevate their brands to the status of being inspirational leaders in India. Without further ado, let's begin with the Selected Inspirational 2020 Leaders Award. The first award for Inspirational Business Leader 2020 goes to none other than the very talented and the very versatile Miss Ekta Kapoor. Ekta started her career when she was just 18 years young as Joint Managing Director and Creative Director of Balaji Telefilms Limited. Mr. Nikhil Mohan abdicated his operating roles and now is the director at Mohan Clothing Private Limited. He navigates the organization and business transformation at the House of Blackberries. Mr. Nitin Mohan is the founder and director of India's prime men's fashion brand Blackberries. He has over 25 years of experience in the world of men's fashion. And the next award goes to Mr. Arvind Goyal, Managing Director and CEO, Tata Autocomp Systems. Under his able leadership, Tata Autocomp has entered into 6 new joint ventures, 2 technological agreements and acquired Titan X. Crayon software expert, Mr. Vikas' abilities to work with the organizations whose foundation is based on their values is what separates him from the crowd. And at the same time, he delivers the business forecast, commitments, and has the potential to spark new business opportunities. The next award goes to Mr. Yokesh Agarwal, an innovator, a technologist, an entrepreneur, and CEO. He is the founder and CEO of Daffodil Softwares. Being a coding enthusiast, he started coding at the age of 16. Mr. Hadi Tehrani is a mentor An entrepreneur, a designer, and a distinguished architect. He has no boundaries when it comes to designing and building because he knows that even in the tiniest room speaks a lot about the entire building. Congratulations, sir. The next award for the Inspirational Leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. Pramod Sharda. He is a passionate professional, skilled with proven adaptability and innovation, leveraging the industry and best IT practices. Harsha Solanki is a proficient professional with experience of over 16 years in the industry. She is the Managing Director at Infobip. She supervises Infobip India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Nepal. Her work at Infobip is noteworthy. The next award for the Inspirational Leader India 2020 goes to Mr. Mandeep Singh, JSL Lifestyle. He is a C-level executive with an expertise of 28 years and is the Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director at JSL Lifestyle Limited. The next award for the Inspirational Leader India 2020 goes to none other than Mr. Ashok Kumar, NEC Technologies. He is the CEO and President at NEC Technologies India Private Limited. The next award for the Inspirational Leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. Sameer Modi, Founder and Managing Director, Modi Care, an alumnus of the Harvard Business School. He is an entrepreneur constantly surviving and strives to bring new and radical ideas to life. The next award for the Inspirational Leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. Sanki Prasad. With over 35 years of real estate experience, Mr. Sanki Prasad has played an instrumental role in delivering numerous landmark real estate projects across India, UK, Africa and Middle East. The next award for the Inspirational Leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. M.K. Mahesh Kumar, TVS Auto Assist. Mr. Mahesh Kumar is the CEO of TVS Auto Assist India Limited. The next award goes to Mr. Ashok Chaturvedi. Mr. Ashok Chaturvedi is the Chairman and Managing Director of UFlex Limited. The foundation of customer relationship is the 3 Qs: quality, quantity and quickness, which Ashok has promised to his customers and has implanted in the organization's culture, being an influential leader that he is. The next award goes to Mr. Ashwini Kumar Sharma. Mr. Ashwini Kumar Sharma is the President and CEO of liquid packaging business UFlex Limited. Mr. Ashwini Kumar Sharma is a seasoned professional with an expertise of 28 years in paper and packaging. The next award goes to Mr. K.E. Ranganathan, Managing Director of Roka Bathroom Products. He is a profound professional with an expertise of more than 35 years in finance, accounting, business planning and strategy, marketing and sales. The next award goes to Mr. Atul Raja, Chairman of the Phoenix Mills Limited, one of the leading retail estate companies in India. Mr. Atul Raja was born to be a prodigy in the Indian retail industry. Under his leadership, Phoenix Mills Limited grew into leading real estate companies in India. The next award goes to Mr. Abhishek Somani, the Chairman and Managing Director of Somani Ceramics. Congratulations, sir. Moving on, the next awardee we have on board with us is Mr. Sandeep Dalmia, co-founder of Stanza Living, an entrepreneur and a tech enthusiast. He has an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and also holds a degree in computer engineering from Delhi College of Engineering. Congratulations, sir. The next award for the Inspirational Leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. Anindya Datta, the co-founder of Stanza Living, having global expertise in real estate. Post his stint with Oak Tree Capital in London, he returned to India and co-founded Stanza Living with his friend Sandeep Dalmia. The next award for the Inspirational Leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. Nachiket Pantvedya. He is the Group Chief Operating Officer and CEO of Alt Balaji. He is a distinguished leader of the Indian entertainment industry. The next award goes to Mr. Abhishek Goyal, an entrepreneur, a meditator, and most importantly, he is a visionary who redefines scholarly communications. He is the CEO and co-founder of Cactus Communications. The next award goes to Mr. Mohit Nirula, the Chief Executive Officer of the Columbia Pacific Communities. Mr. Nirula's ability to evolve by brainstorming new ideas and at the same time maintaining a balance by focusing on the goal and the method is rare. The next award for the Inspirational Leader 2020 goes to Dr. Amit Bhatnagar. Dr. Amit Bhatnagar is the Country General Manager and Director for Cooper Surgical India, leading the fertility and genomics business for India and neighboring countries. Next award goes to Divya Lal, the Managing Director of FlipLearn. Being a Managing Director at FlipLearn has given Divya an opportunity to build a platform that can provide quality education at economical expense. The next award for the Inspirational Leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. Varun Alagh. Varun Alagh is the co-founder and chief dad of Mama Earth. His understanding and experience of the FMCG market has allowed him to develop, distribute and market Mama Earth's 100% toxin-free products. An artist, an entrepreneur, a corporate trainer and a great mompreneur. She is none other than the very talented, the very versatile Ghazal Alagh, the co-founder and chief mama of Mama Earth. Her prime objective is to provide everyone with toxin-free, made, safe, certified products so this world can be a better and a safer place. Non-toxin products benefit us in the long run to sustain a balanced lifestyle. The next award goes to Mr. Gurmukh Rupra, the Chief Executive Officer of Namdhari Seeds Private Limited. He aims at building a concrete foothold in Bangalore and then expanding to the various cities of South India. The next award goes to Mr. Mohit Goyal, CEO of Omex Limited, one of leading real estate firms in India. He is a second-generation entrepreneur who has his sharp business that has influenced the structural changes that led to the turning point for his company when the real estate sector had no. The next award goes to Ms. Akanksha Bhargav, CEO of PM Relocations, a CEO, a mother, a writer, blogger, a motivational and influential speaker. She is a strong supporter of women and young minds and wants to make this world a better place by sharing her stories. Congratulations, ma'am. The next award goes to Ms. Sarita Singh, an entrepreneur, a teacher, a leader, an educationist and a CEO. She is none other than Ms. Sarita Singh, the CEO of Priyadarshini Schools. She has always been very passionate about the development of the school and providing quality education. The next award for the Inspirational Leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. Vikram Khanna, the CEO of Consumer Gas and CIO. He is an experienced professional in the field of P&L, ownership of business, B2B and B2C in manufacturing, to retail segments of the glass industry for automotive, in architectural and industrial space. Congratulations to our next awardee, Mr. Ashish Agarwal, the CEO of Radiant Infonet, a marketing savant and business development enthusiast. The next award for the Inspirational Leader goes to Ms. Shalini Natraj. Ms. Natraj is Global Head Human Resources. She oversees the HR department across India, China and Philippines. The next award goes to Mr. Navneet Kapoor, the Chief Technology and Information Officer and a member of the executive leadership team at AP Moller Merck. From retail to finance, from manufacturing and engineering to building e-commerce platform and differentiating capabilities in data, technology and automation, along with leading global organization, he has more than 20 years of experience in his career. The next award goes to Mr. Arush Gupta, Director and CEO, Okaya Power Group. Mr. Arush joined the OPG Group at the young age of 23 and has been taking care of brand Okaya since then. Congratulations to our next awardee, Mr. Adish Duggal, the Chief Creative Officer and co-founder of Amplify Media LLP. Adish always focuses on providing with quality content. He will provide you with high quality work that fits for your company. Congratulations to our next awardee, Ms. Avlokita Dayal, the Chief Marketing Officer and co-founder of Amplify Media. She is a boss lady, totally creative, and her experience for more than 10 years in brand strategy and marketing has helped Amplify to grow multifold. Congratulations to our next awardee, Mr. Akshat Malik. Mr. Akshat Malik has been revolutionizing and enhancing pharma industry by reshaping derma and nutraceutical online business. And the next award goes to Mr. Pankaj Varmani, a serial entrepreneur, CEO and founder of Clovia Lingerie. He actively participates in mentoring and advising budding entrepreneurs, industry personnel, and startups on the internet. Our next award goes to Mr. Gaurav Zatakia, the maestro in the world of mattresses, an entrepreneur, currently the co-founder and CEO of Flow Mattresses. The next award for the Inspirational Leader goes to Mr. Kshitij Rihal. Mr. Kshitij co-founded Flow Mattresses along with his friend in 2018. The next award goes to Mr. Mahesh Shashadri. Mr. Shashadri is the co-founder and director of the Human Alpha Strategic Solution Private Limited, a seasoned professional with an experience of more than 20 years. The co-founder and managing director of the Human Alpha Strategic Solution Private Limited. Having managed large teams and a workforce of 1500 plus, she is very sensitive to the challenges in the organizations in strategic planning and execution from the leadership point of view and importance of alignment from the employee point of view. The next award for the Inspirational Leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. Harish Klosipet, the Chief Executive Officer and the co-founder of Itsy Bitsy, one of India's leading scrapbooking and craft retailers. Congratulations to our next awardee, Ms. Rashmi Klosipet, the co-founder and director of Itsy Bitsy and Little Birdie Crafts. She, being a woman and entrepreneur, understands the value of empowering women. The next award goes to Mr. Dev Batra, the co-founder and chief evangelist of Lixel Labs. He's detail-oriented and an innovative perfectionist. His ideas and understanding stand him apart from the general league. He's always full of energy and a great multitasker. Congratulations to our next inspirational leader, Mr. Adarsh, the co-founder of Parallel 23. He has massive experience in the area of brand, communications and branding like Equity International. The next award goes to Mr. Sundar Raman Tyagarajan. Mr. Tyagarajan is the National Sales and Marketing Head of MK Agrotech Private Limited. His proficiency lies in both food and non-foods personal care category with his keen focus in fast-moving consumer goods. And the next award for being the most inspirational leader of India 2020 goes to Mr. Ishant Singh Bedi, a leader, an entrepreneur and a visionary, the director of Synchronized Supply Systems Limited. Congratulations to our next inspirational leader of India 2020, Mr. Chandresh Kothari, co-founder Explore. The next award goes to Mr. Krishna Randar, co-founder Explore. Congratulations to our next awardee for being the most inspirational leader of India 2020, and it goes to Mr. Anil Lala, the founder and managing director of Fansart. The next award for the most inspirational leader of India 2020 goes to Ms. Satya Badlamani, the Chairperson and Managing Director, Murli Krishna Pharma. The Chief Promoter of Murli Krishna Pharma, she holds a degree in Electrical and Electronics Engineering. Congratulations to our next Inspirational Leader of India 2020, Mr. Avinash Singh Visain, the CEO of Encraft, and an experience in UPVC fenestration industry. Avinash has taken Encraft to heights and made one of the top brands in the UPVC industry. And the next award goes to Ms. Kirandeep Kaur, CEO KD Financial Services. Heartiest congratulations, ma'am, and keep up the good work. Moving on, the next one topping the list is founder and CEO Wisdom Capital, Mr. Deb Mukherjee. Congratulations, sir. Next, we'd like to congratulate Ms. Shivangi Mittal, CEO, The Natural Wash. Next, we would like to congratulate Mr. Akshat Goyal, Director, The Natural Wash. Mr. Sahil Mehta founded the premium nature and science-inspired healthcare and cosmetics brand Saint Botanica in the year 2007. His exquisite leadership has turned Saint Botanica into one of the leading wellness brands not only in India but also across the globe, and today is trusted by millions of customers both in India and overseas. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this was our first set of awards. Congratulations to all the winners of the 2020 edition. I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Ashok Kumar from NEC Technologies, the CEO and President at NEC Corporation India. Alok's illustrious career spans over 26 years, wherein he has provided strategic direction to globally renowned brands in India and international market including Japan, APAC and EMEA. Alok's journey with NEC began in March 2020 as he took up to the mantle as the President and CEO at NEC Corporation India, a subsidiary of NEC Corporation Japan. He is responsible for leading and expanding NEC India's business offerings in India and global market. As an accomplished leader, he is known for his management style and holds a stellar record in driving market share growth by creating new market opportunities. I would request Mr. Alok to please come on. I would request Mr. Alok to please join us on screen.
Respected industry peers and friends, thank you for your time and to give us an opportunity to talk to you today. My name is Ashok Kumar and I am the President and CEO for NEC Corporation India. Orchestrating a brighter world. At NEC, this is not simply a tagline that goes as fine prints under the big logo. For us, this is the mission statement that puts our personal lives in complete harmony with what we do in our professional life. This is what motivates us at NEC to help create a better world for today and tomorrow. A world that is safe, secure, fair, and equal. Next time you walk into the airport to take a flight, and we hope that is soon, imagine not having to touch anything, not a paper, not visiting the check-in counters or the kiosks, not having to flash a boarding pass. At NEC, we enable the technology that makes paperless and touchless boarding possible. Deploying the world's most advanced facial technology platform, we power paperless boarding across many airports around the world. And as we speak, we are working on making this come alive at multiple airports in India. At NEC, we provide solutions for society that promote safety, security, fairness, and above all, provides a chance for everyone to be equal through digital inclusion. Through the last 70 years of our presence in India, NEC has worked tirelessly to build solutions that lift the productivity of our society by deploying technology at places that really matter. 2 months back, we completed the first ever underwater submarine cable project connecting the far-flung and remote Andaman and Nicobar Islands to mainland India through Chennai. At NEC, this is not about providing data connectivity. It is not about providing hundreds of terabytes of data at fast speed. It is about empowering 4.5 lakh islanders with information that can bring better education, better healthcare, better social welfare, and above all, lift the social productivity and in turn, the potential to earn income for the natives. This is exactly what you should expect from one of the world leaders in submarine cabling. Over the years, we have deployed submarine cables that can go around the world 7.5 times. This is the story of how a 100-year-old company with more than 49,000 patents deploys its assets to the benefit of the larger society. At NEC India, we partner with the government for many smart city projects. Deploying surveillance solution in Surat, we help bring down the crime rate by more than 27%. During the past very difficult 6 months, we have helped institutions like Gurgaon Metropolitan Development Authority and Kalyan Dombivli Municipal Corporation, to name a few, build war rooms to track COVID infections and create a methodical decision trees assisted with data. We have set up command and control center in multiple cities to enable faster response to civilian services. We are collaborating with many city administrations to improve the mass transportation solutions. Applications like paperless ticketing and on-tip bus tracking. We are reducing wait time at bus stops, making bus congestions leaner, and helping better planning for peak times. We at NEC are committed to helping improve the productivity loss in commuting. Right deployment of technology can truly impact social lives. It can also improve the fundamental infrastructure and its performance. As one of the first players in deploying track and trace technology in logistics, NEC India has accelerated the productivity of the archaic and fragmented logistics sector. Today, more than 27 million export-import containers go through NEC platform, helping us to visualize congestions, container idle inventory, and many other benefits. The rich data bank will help create an Uber containerization solution in India, one of the first in this part of the world. Not to say asset tracking can help create heat maps on congestions that can in turn help plan better highways, better networks, driver rest areas that will further reduce highway accidents. More than 6,000 technology professionals in the field of telecommunications, smart city, logistics, transportation, submarine, retail, finance are deploying high-tech solutions every day at NEC India using artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, RPA, facial recognition, biometrics. We do that every day with one mission: to accelerate the digital revolution that India has unleashed across the world. At NEC, we seek to transform the lives of every Indian by deploying this power of technology. I want to take a moment to thank our employees and our partners to help realize our dream every day. Today, I want to take a moment to thank each one of you for carrying a part of NEC in your pocket, in your homes, and amongst your loved ones. Intrigued? I thought so. At NEC India, we powered the world's largest multimodal biometric database, what you commonly known as the Aadhaar Card program. Aadhaar Card, or the unique identification number, is not just a number for NEC. It is a voice to many Indians who could never be heard. It is about providing empowerment to many for what is their right. And it is about providing courage to millions of Indians to dream, to get ahead in life. At NEC, when we say we are orchestrating a brighter world, we really mean it. Thank you for your time to listen in.
Our next speaker is Ms. Divya Lal from FlipLearn. She is the Managing Director of FlipLearn. She has captivating leadership skills and is a visionary in all sense. She is also a TEDx speaker and has an experience of over 19 years in the field of education. Her dedication towards improving the Indian education system is remarkable. She created a system that can recognize the students' need and will provide a tailor-made content, a system that is connected to parents and the schools. I would request Ms. Divya to please join us on screen.
Hi, my name is Divya and I'm the founder at fliplearn.com. We are an online learning platform currently working with more than 200,000 students across some 200 schools. I think how this moment and how this pandemic has become a watershed moment for the Indian economy is something that we are all going to see. This is the moment that will redefine not only how India learns, but also how Indian institutions are going to get budgeted, and so does it stand for the Indian households. I think now being online ready for education of your child is going to be an intrinsic part of budgeting, whether it is going to be the schools, colleges, or every home in this country. We welcome this and we can already see how strong this segment is emerging. You can see some of the most iconic sporting events being completely outsponsored by edtech players. So I think it is an industry which is only growing stronger and bigger, and it's also the pivotal piece that will define how India is learning and will continue to thrive in this space in the world.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Our next speaker is Mr. Vikas Boslik, the Chief Executive Officer of Crayon Software Experts in India. He has been leading Crayon Software Experts all over India since June 2014. His association with Crayon, the global leader in software asset management, cloud and volume licensing, has been a strengthening one, with the company growing deeper roots in the country with new collaborations, investments, mergers and acquisitions. He is a strong advocate of transparency, working productively, and is a major contributor to the company's visibility in the country. I'd request Mr. Vikas to please join us on screen.
Sure. Hi, my name is Vikas Boslik. I'm the CEO of Crayon Software Experts India Private Limited. Crayon is a Norwegian firm and we are global digital transformation experts. When I was approached by the White Page leadership team and I was asked to speak on a subject of my choice, I was wondering what I should speak about. Digital transformation has been spoken about in every other seminar and forum. It's been beaten black and blue. We've spoken about technology. So I was thinking what will interest my audience. And I thought I'll speak about Crayon, which obviously means that how has Crayon fared in the last few months during the pandemic. It would not be right for me to say that we thrived, because I've seen businesses flounder. I've seen my partners go under. I've seen employees lose their jobs. I've seen that people have struggled to make ends meet. Some of my colleagues have got infected by the virus. A few of them theatered on the edge and came back safely. And sadly, a few of my colleagues also lost their dear ones. In this kind of a circumstances, it may be inappropriate to say that we thrived. So I will only say that we were able to keep our head above water and we survived. And my next few minutes are narrative about what we really did. Now, of course, this is not a template for success, but this is a collection of my thought, which I hope you will find it relevant, and that's exactly my endeavor. Okay, so when the pandemic struck in March, we had the Janta curfew and then it was followed by the lockdown phase 1. Everyone was anxious. I had no clue, like any other leader on this globe, I didn't know what my business could expect from this pandemic. What about my partners? What about my people? What about their families? It was a very, very difficult phase. When I looked at my employees, they were very anxious. They had concerns. They had fears. They had security of their jobs at risk. The first thing that I wanted to really do was alleviate their fears about the job. And that's what I did. I did the first communication with my employees and I said, irrespective of what happens in the external environment, you will not lose your job. We will not have a pay cut. It may have seemed at a point in time that it was a statement of false bravado, but it was not. Because I had confidence in our business model and I had confidence in the people who were leading that business. So I went and I said, your job security is always going to be assured in Crayon. It was also important that we take a posture. My communication should lend to a posture that we will take in the marketplace. We did not want to be over optimistic. We did not want to be under optimistic, or let me say over pessimistic. So I didn't want to go and say, oh, it's the end of the world because it's COVID. Or I didn't want to say, irrespective of what happens, we are going to be successful. So we clearly calibrated around some of the things we saw in the market. What are the forces? What is it that we can align and do better? And when I looked at what customers and partners were wanting, and I looked at my business model, I thought that if we could execute well, we would be successful. So our posturing always was, if we execute well, we will be successful. At no point in time were we pessimistic. We were realistically optimistic. That also meant that we needed to have fundamental belief in our model, our core business model. And like I said before, when pandemic struck, everybody said that digital transformation journeys for our customers will be accelerated. And we are exactly in that business. We are in the business of assessment. We are in the business of migration, of governance, of adoption of different technologies in the cloud. And we believed that with this business model, we would be successful. And we fundamentally stuck on our core business fundamental. And we said, irrespective of what happens in the marketplace, we will go and execute well. It also meant that while we spoke about our business fundamental being strong, we needed to be a little different. We needed to transform internally. So to bring razor focus to what we did, we bifurcated our business. So we created a coverage organization that was going and meeting customers and partners, and we created a services and a solutions organization. We got talent from our side. We did not stop recruiting. We got talent on services, we got talent on multi-cloud strategy, we got talent on OEMs, we got talent on blockchain, on security, and so on and so forth. And we created a very robust transformation organization. Then we also saw, what is it that we are addressing? So we have about 1,000 plus customers, a few thousand partners. Can we serve all of them? Probably yes. But then we said, some of these customers and some of these businesses across some of these verticals are not going to do well. It does not pay well for us to spend our time addressing those customer needs. So we optimized. We optimized from about 1,000 plus customers to about 500 customers who we believed can give us great returns. We also went in with a belief which said, yes, we can go and acquire new customers because we had a transformation organization, we could acquire new customers. But we said, given the kind of bouquet of services we had, it would be easy for us to sell deeper than to acquire new customers. And we stuck with that belief. We went in with 500 customers. We did a lot of things that enabled deep selling with our customers, and we were successful. Cash is king is something that we've heard right through the entire journey in the last 8 months. And that's true. So when this pandemic struck us in March, I went to my CFO and said, we need to have an absolute critical view of our cash position in the next 6 months to a year. So we created a 6-month cash out template, so to say. We took an ultra pessimistic view of our business, of our profitability, of our ability to collect cash, and then we mapped it around what are the outflows that need to go out, and we continuously looked at our 6-month cash flow position. That was a guide for us to say where we should be investing, what is it that we must go after, where we should cut costs, and that guiding document helped us. Even as I speak to you today, that's a document which is live, and we are constantly guided by all the various vectors which are there in the template, which gives me an absolute view of my cash flow cycle. Last but not the least, human enterprise, right? And when I talk about human enterprise, I'm covering both the vectors of our customers and our employees. Whether it's a customer, it's a partner, it's a supplier, it's an OEM employees, we are all human beings. Very important at the stage in this pandemic to have empathy towards human beings. So there were customers, a lot of our customers just did not know how to embrace this entire work from home thing. They didn't have the collaboration tools. They didn't have the software that enabled them to do so. They didn't have the budgets. Some of them said, I need help, can you do it? So we created environments where you could go and host virtual desktops. We did our free demos, we did free assessments, we did free migrations, we gave tools which gave access to trainings for 6 months, and we gave it out to our customers. Some of our customers said, my business is not doing well, can you give me extended terms? It could be 60 days, 90 days, sometimes extended terms. And we worked with our OEMs and we gave those extended terms. We are not a bank, we were ourselves under stress. But given the fact that we were slightly better than they, we said, why not help them? And we went out of our way to go and help them. And they were very, very appreciative of this. And of course, finally, it's all about our employees. And I think that was one piece of the entire business we did very well. So like I said, very early in the piece, we went and spoke about job security. I also went ahead and I gave them a 6 monthly hike. We actually gave them a hike after making sure that our cash flow is well protected. Okay, we reached out one-on-one to every single employee in Crayon to ask them how are they doing, how is their family, how is their well-being. It was extremely important for us that they are happy, that they are not anxious, that they are not having a lot of concerns and worries, because if they are worried, our business cannot do well. And so we reached out to them. We cared and we invested in their mental well-being. We invested in increasing the insurance for them. We increased engagement, we increased communication, and a plethora of things that went, and we made sure that all the entire workforce in Crayon was extremely motivated when they came to work. Of getting the burden of the job, or let me say the monkey of not having your job off the back, they all worked with great amount and a great sense of purpose to make Crayon successful. And our success today rides on all the work that the employees have done for us. So my hats off to them. So as I come to conclude my speech, it's been a very tough year. Yeah, we've gone through a lot of stress, to a lot of strife. We emerged successful, but we also emerged with life-changing lessons. The next few months and possibly even the next few years are going to be game changers for us. And as long as we can embrace the attitude that we have displayed in the last 8 months, I think we will continue to be successful always. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Taking this evening ahead, I'd like to invite on screen Mr. Yokesh Agarwal, an innovator, a technologist, an entrepreneur, and a CEO. He is none other than Mr. Yokesh Agarwal. His work at Daffodil is noteworthy. His out-of-the-box thinking reflects in the operations at Daffodil. He is known for adopting state-of-the-art and innovative technologies at an early stage. He oversees strategy and process planning at the organization, which has driven his organization to the success that it is today. I would request Mr. Yokesh to join us on screen.
Hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be part of this conclave. Thank you for this opportunity. I am Yokesh Agarwal, CEO of Daffodil Software. Daffodil Software was established in 1999 with a simple ideology to find innovative solutions to complex and large problems. We want to play a significant role in delivering progressive software solutions for our clients that help them to scale their business. Today, Daffodil Software is a technology partner to 100+ organizations across the globe. With our roots into innovation, tech agility, and time-proven processes, our team of 800+ people help our customer elevate their value proposition through technology. We take pride in our ability to look beyond technologies and deliver innovative solutions. At the core of Daffodil lies a growth-oriented culture and set of impeccable values that define and guide us in this journey to perfection. A testament to this fact is that our customers tend to stay with us for a very, very long time. They treat our employee as part of their extended family, and they include them in all the celebrations that they have at their end whenever they reach to a milestone. Recently, we also have been certified as Great Place to Work by GPTW organization. As a brand, we believe that we are equally responsible for success of our customers, which is why we consider them as our partners. We pass on best practices that we have learned over year of experience to our customer by working on their solution and help them to have an edge over their competition. Over the past 20 years, we have established a strong position in software development domain. We have worked with some of the most innovative startups and established Fortune 500 brands globally. More recently, we have also been trusted by Reserve Bank of India for a very complex artificial intelligence-based mobile app for blinds, which have received pretty well by the end users. We have also been trusted by National E-Governance Division for maintenance of Umang app, which is key part of our government's Digital India vision. We have dedicated research and development lab, which help us continuously evaluate and adopt emerging technologies. This provides our client with a strategic advantage for the challenges that require breakthrough solutions. We also have built custom code libraries which are decoupled, usable, stable, and thoroughly tested that help us to build solution at 2x speed, which are more robust and also more usable. And we have segregated this service under a different brand which we call Unthinkable Software. Through this brand, we are helping our customers to reach market faster, to evolve their solution at 2x speed, and overall help them to take a distinctive edge over their competition. Again, in the end, I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity. I hope that everyone enjoys this conclave.
Thank you so much, sir.